Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on three movies that kind of thematically go together. The first is a comedy, sci fi comedy called Daddy. Then there's a murder mystery comedy called The Residence. And then there is a sci fi kind of thing, murder mystery called Ash. And they're all, not, they got problems. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. The links are in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 16, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. So, Daddy takes place in a strange, not too distant future world in which potential fathers have to go on to this retreat to become approved fathers, or else they get a vasectomy. And I don't think they have a choice. And so these guys go to the house, but no one is there, and they all kind of start going crazy after a while. No one tells them what to do. They kind of do a bunch of really stupid and odd things in the trailer. It doesn't seem to make any sense to me. It's kind of rudderless, and then they kind of start to get on each other's nerves, and then kind of start attacking one another. One guy they tie up, and they might even kill him. This is a weird scene where they're dancing for some reason. I'm not exactly sure of the vision of the filmmakers of fatherhood. I think that's part of the problem. It feels like they're trying to be funny about it, but it seems to me if they were in a program or in a world like this, there would be enough parameters that at least they would get some instructions. It seems they show up at this house and get literally zero instruction. So they just stay there until things unravel. So it's very odd to me. It's called Daddy. My God, with the credits. Written and directed by Neil Kelly and Jono Sherman. Okay. Looks like a low budget affair. Let's see if they are in the lineup here. It looks like Neil Kelly is. And Jono is. Okay, so they're in the cast as well. I'm really not sure if it's supposed to be a comedy. It feels like it should be a comedy, but the reactions aren't big enough for me. You need to go big in a comedy. You need to go big. And there's no setup here. It's like they're struggling to find the funny and the plot of this thing. Did they just let loose some actors in a house and shoot the results? I think you needed more than that. The beginning kind of sets up a funny thing. The computer is telling him he'll get a vasectomy if he doesn't pass some kind of test, but they're not very clear. Like, nothing's very clear in this. They cut right to the guys going crazy. Seems to me you should have established this world's deal with this a little more. Just a little more is all I need. So, first act, our main character here is going on the retreat to see if he's going to be a good dad or whatever. He gets there and meets the other guys. And at first it just seems like, oh, we're going to sit around this house. And then second act, no one shows up to give them any instructions, so they just start doing stuff, I guess. And appealing to the walls because they think they're being surveilled. Not sure if they're being surveilled or not. So they may be doing it for nothing. That might be the big reveal at the end. Ha ha. Can they all be fathers? Can only one of them be fathers? Like, I don't understand the rules. Uh, Third act, some big reveal where they're in the wrong house. I don't know. I don't know. Or where they're all unqualified. There's a lot of movies out about motherhood. Um, this one is about fatherhood. Doesn't seem to be very masculine. Like, if they set this up in the 90s, the setup would be obvious, right? In a comedy. It'd be some guy, it'd be a little bit, he's not totally wimpy, but he's a little wimpy, he's struggling. And then he shows up, and like one of the guys in the group is like the most masculine guy ever, right? He's like a cowboy mixed with a soldier and a warrior, and it's like he's going to win the contest hands down, and he's teaching the other guys how to be manly, and along the way, our protagonist, I don't know, he falls in love with the woman who's running the resort and has to win her over the cowboy soldier guy, and he manages to do that against all odds, and it's funny on the way. And then we find out the cowboy has a lot of weird problems, and it's hilarious. This just feels like, first off, they're all dressed. I mean, they're dressed in different colors, I'll give you that, but they all kind of look the same, like doughy middle-aged guys. I guess they're trying to be funny. It should be clearer. And if you're making a serious statement about fatherhood and masculinity, not really buying that either. So you got this sort of wishy-washy middle ground. Just like, if you're going to do comedy, do comedy. If you're going to do a big statement on masculinity, do it. Says here on the write-up, 4 men attend a government retreat to prove that they have what it takes to become fathers. Daddy arriving on DVD and Blu-ray February 25th. Slow down. Yeah, I don't think I would watch this. But anyhow, next up, The Residents. This is billed as a comedy. It's on Netflix. The president or someone in the White House has died. Now, the one bright spot here, if I could stop on it, is Jane Curtin's in it, and she's pretty funny. This guy from the state, Martino is his last name. And then this woman is supposed to be like a great detective, I guess. She keeps looking through binoculars for some reason. I'm not sure why. She seems to be smarter than everybody and kind of smug about it. Martino seems to be running around saying, "Whoa, you're disrupting the White House." I don't know. It doesn't seem that very funny either. Where's the comedy in this? I think this is the guy who did it, by the way. Seems pretty obvious he's washing a bloody knife at some point, but this guy who's in a lot of stuff is in it as well. I forget that actor's name. Yeah, it just seems like an excuse to do a murder mystery in the White House. Not really buying it. With comedies, it's better to have a realistic, serious setup than a ridiculous one. Because if you have a ridiculous one, it makes it harder to do the comedy, not easier. It's a rookie mistake. You want to have something super serious where, like, people have died and people are upset. Like, that's the way you want to start it, even in the trailer. You want to start the movie like, oh man, this guy's dead. This is a disaster. Like, that's the way you want to start a movie like this. And then the detective comes in and, I don't know, she's a bit odd. March 20th, if you want to see this. She's a bit odd, but she's the only detective available, is usually, or she's the only one there. She's good, but I don't know. It's Netflix. Is this going to be like, well, we have to make her like the best and brightest because she's a strong, empowered woman deal? Or you could try to make a comedy. Look, in a comedy, the protagonist is often very much the butt of the joke sometimes. In a mystery detective thing, I mean, you really probably should have. You can parody an existing franchise like Knives Out, right? You could bring in a guy like Daniel Craig to do a parody of it. And then people kind of glom onto that because they know Knives Out, and then you can sort of make fun of that and do new stuff. With this, you're trying to introduce a new character. Again, I'm not sure if you're trying to be serious or funny. If you're trying to be funny, you've lost me. If you're trying to be serious, the comedy is undermining it. So you got to go balls out if you're going to do the comedy. You got to go big, you know. I mean, she seems fine, but a female comedic lead would be better. You know, a stand-up comic making stand-up comic jokes, doing one-liners throughout this trailer would get me interested. Not like you don't really care about the plot in a comedy all that much. Yes, you have to establish what I said, but ultimately it could be you could crop it from any other movie because that isn't the focus. The focus is the comedy. The focus are the jokes. Like what can you do to make the most jokes in this thing? That's what you have to set up here. This is just, I don't even know. And it's going to be full of digs at Trump. I don't know. It could be. I didn't see any in the trailer, to its credit. But they could be hiding that. They've done that before. The only thing you have to do in a comedy is make it funny. And the only thing you have to do in a trailer is show us at least, I don't know, 2 or 3 funny bits. Not seeing any here. So, first act, there's a party at the White House, a big to-do, very fancy. And someone dies and is murdered, and so they lock down the residence to try to figure out who it is, and this detective is either called in or she's already there for some reason. Second act, she's trying to put together the pieces, she's finding clues, someone tries to kill her, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you follow the same arc as any mystery thing, except it's supposed to be funny along the way. Third act, she reveals the murderer, but again, it's a comedy. She doesn't have to. You could have a hilarious ending where she accuses the wrong person and the real murderer exposes himself, or everybody dies and the murderer gets away. I mean, there's all kinds of ways you could do it. As long as it doesn't matter, as long as it's funny. So this, I don't know. I don't know this person. She doesn't seem all that funny. Let's check the IMDb for the write-up here. The Residence. There it is. Inside the White House staff residence, the lives of workers share with the first family. Isn't there a murder? Oh, it's a series. It's a series? Okay, so I guess the first season is the murder. It's weird. It's a weird way to frame it. What are you going to do for the second season? That's, if you were going to do, so this is a totally wrong setup for a series. If you're going to do a hilarious series about the staff at the White House, what are you going to do? Kill everybody every week? You can't do that. You're going to kill somebody next season? If it's about the White House staff, it should be a series about the White House staff, and no one gets murdered. Very confusing. Very confusing. All right, and finally, Ash. This is a serious sci-fi movie by Shudder, and it has one of the tropes that I absolutely hate in a movie, which is the main character has amnesia, and I'm out. I wouldn't even watch it. I wouldn't even begin to watch it, because that is in my view, the laziest effing way to do a story. Oh, I woke up and I don't remember what happened, and during the course of the movie you're going to see little snippets of what happened. Slowly we'll put it together, and then suddenly I'll remember. Like, you don't need to do this. but this is what they do. Is it a good... Aaron Paul's in it. And of course, she doesn't know if he's friend or foe, and he tries to tell her, and she says things, oh, there's something you're not telling me. Yeah, no kidding. It's tiresome. Stop it. Just stop doing this. Okay? At least if, I don't know, if there was a reason, like in Severance, that she doesn't have a memory, maybe she loses her memory on a long cryogenic freeze trip or something. It's just too much. It's too much. Ash, I assume, is the name of the character. There's all kinds of sci-fi stuff in it. Do they not have lights in the future? That's what I really want to ask people who make sci-fi movies. Do you not have lights? You see the room I'm in? I'm not in the far future. I just have lights. I like to see things. Do people not in the future not like to see things? Can we not have a sci-fi movie that doesn't have alien lighting every single time? Just have lighting. I get it. You want to have it fuzzy lighting so you can't really see the sets and you can't really see the aliens and whatnot. I get it. I get why you're doing it. It's the same reason why you always put zombie actors in longer clothes so you don't have to put as much makeup on them. It hides their, deal. But this is a decent enough budget film. I think we could have a few shots of the characters in regular lighting. Just a few. So I can see who the hell they are. Drives me nuts. So first act, she wakes up, doesn't remember. Second act, she's trying to pull it together, and then Aaron Paul shows up, and she almost kills him. And then they team up to get the MacGuffin, whatever it is, and figure out who killed the crew. And slowly she starts putting together the pieces, and then Aaron Paul has lied to her for some reason, because maybe he's in on it, or maybe he's possessed by the alien or whatever. Third act, she puts it all together. So basically, you're spending 90 minutes trying to find out what she probably knew at the beginning of the movie before she lost her memory. Again, not a great way to do a movie anymore. I mean, maybe that format was good, I don't know, 50 years ago. Now it's just so tiresome. So tiresome. I prefer stories in which the characters know where the hell they are. Maybe have something to say, and they say new things instead of like, oh, I'm trying to figure out who I was, who I am, what I did. We haven't even started the movie. I don't know these characters. It's weird. It's weird. I'll give you an example where Amnesia was good. There was a Family Guy episode where all the four main characters, I think it was Peter, Quagmire, Joe, and I forget who else. They all lost their memories, and they're slowly putting it together over the course of the episode. That was great because you already knew who they were. But yeah, I can't get behind this. All right, let's read the write-up. On the mysterious planet of Ash. Okay, so that's the name of the planet. Raya awakens to find her crew slaughtered when a man named Brian? Oh, it's Brian with an O. Arrives to rescue her, and an ordeal of psychological and physical terror ensues while Raya and Brian must decide if they can trust one another to survive. Yeah, it just sounds like you're going to waste a lot of time. Ash stars Eliza Gonzalez, Aaron Paul, Iko Uwais, Kate Elliott, Beulah Cole, and Flying Lotus. What's Flying Lotus? Is that a person? Film is directed and composed by Flying Lotus, alongside being written by, weird sentence, Johnny Remier, and produced by Nate Bulletin and Matthew Metcalf. Ash is executive produced by Nick Spicer, Maxime, a bunch of other people, including the Flying Lotus. I don't know, is that like a kung fu guy? Releasing on theaters March 21st. So we got the three movies here. Man, race to the bottom. Ash, The Resident, and Daddy. Wow. Oh, God. What's on the bottom? Holy crap. I do not know. I hate all three of these movies. Boy. I guess I got to put Daddy on the bottom. It just looks like rudderless. Absolutely rudderless. And it's a close race. It's a close race. Number two, probably The Residents, because it's not making me laugh at all, and although it seems well produced and Martino's kind of funny, yeah, I'm just not feeling it. And on the top would be Ash. At least I'd get to see some cool monsters, and Aaron Paul is a good actor, so there's that. But I gotta say, all three of these movies, probably never see them. And that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Check us out on the green site, the orange site, and the black site for more videos. Check me out tomorrow, Saturday, at Sayreville, New Jersey, and I will be at the I Heart Horror Part 3, Groundhogzilla. It starts at 11 a.m., goes to 7:30. Hope to see you there. We'll see you in the next one.